Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you can hear me okay. I want to thank you for joining us and being on time. We're just going to wait a few seconds, maybe a minute, just to give some time to the people who are still adding themselves on to the webinar. Just so if you'd be patient with me, we'll get started here in just a minute. But I want to thank you for being here with me. Hopefully you can hear me well. And if you can, maybe send me a little text message to let me know that you're hearing me okay and that you're seeing everything okay. There's a little chat box, should let you let me know that you're there. Okay, great. All right, so thanks everyone for joining us, again for being on time. We'll try to get going on time every week. Today is going to be the introduction to a multi-week class, 3-month course called Financial Freedom Seminar Masterclass. And I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about who I am for those of you who maybe don't know me. I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about what this class is all about and what you can expect to learn and how it might benefit you. So again, let me share my full screen here. Okay, so hopefully you can see it. Well, again, I want to thank you everybody for being here. My name is Alex Barron. For those of you who may not know who I am, I want to tell you a little bit about my background. I was born here in El Paso, Texas. I lived in Juarez, Mexico for the first 10 years of my life. I also lived in the Bay Area for 10 years of my life. And I went to school at Agape Christian Academy high school. I graduated from UTEP with a 4.0 in civil engineering. I then went to study a master's and a PhD at Stanford University. I then started my career in Wall Street in 2001. I started with a firm called Franklin Templeton Investments, and I did that for 2.5 years. Then I switched over to a firm called JMP Securities in San Francisco. I did that for 3.5 years. And all along, I started basically analyzing a group called the Home Building Companies. I then started a partnership with a group called Agency Trading, and then I started my own firm in 2010. I've been working in Wall Street, analyzing investments, recommending investments over the last 20 years. I am, I guess, a normal person, just like everybody else. I have my family, my parents. I enjoy investments. It's something I've done a long time. I also enjoy exotic cars, traveling throughout the world. But I also enjoy trying to help people learn and understand how money works so that they can make money work for them instead of them having to work for money all the time. And I also like supporting nonprofits, especially those that focus on orphan kids or poor kids to try to help them get an education. So let me tell you a little bit about how I started on this path of learning about money and why I think it's important to share with others what I've learned. So back in 1994, I was a senior in college about to graduate. And I got invited to a talk, a seminar called Success by a man called Peter Daniels. Peter Daniels was a businessman who came from Australia who was a multimillionaire. But the interesting thing about Mr. Daniels was that he didn't start off as a millionaire. He started off actually as a poor illiterate bricklayer who at the age of 26, that's all he knew how to do. He had come from multi-generations of being poor, and he says that at that age, he came to know God, and because of that experience, he kind of said, well, if I'm a child of God, how come, I can't achieve what everybody else has? And so he started down a path of trying to improve his life, and he started trying to learn how to how to make money. So he started a business, and unfortunately he failed. And then he got up and started a second business, and he failed. And then he did that for the third time, and he started a third business, and he failed. And by this time his wife was like, hey, you should just go get a job. But he really had something inside. He had a big dream that he wanted to realize. And the fourth time that he launched a business, he finally succeeded and became a multimillionaire. When I met him, he had some books that he had written, and I figured, well, I might as well learn how this guy did it, because I'm obviously educated. I know how to read and write. I'm a pretty good student. So I figured if he could make it, maybe I also have a chance to learn how to make it in life. And the biggest thing that I wanted to learn was, is this a formula that anybody can follow somehow, or is this something just a matter of luck? And I figured, if it's a matter of luck, well, then maybe I won't be able to eventually reach financial success. But if it's a matter of a formula, then I'd like to learn that formula so that I could also teach other people how they could do it. So I started investing in myself. Like I said, I bought his books. I bought some other books. I'm showing you some of the copies here in Spanish, but I bought a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I bought a book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. I bought a book by John Assaraf called The Answer. I bought a book by George Clason called The Richest Man in Babylon, and many other books. And long story short, in the initial years of my life, maybe there wasn't much after I graduated to show for all this learning that I kept investing and reading. But over time, things gave fruit. At the age of 35, I made my first $1 million. Within the next 3 years, we had made $10 million in my company. And since that time, we've continued to be successful, helping people understand, the world of investments, especially as it pertains to the housing market. I was one of the first people to figure out that the housing market was going to crash back in 2006. So anyways, a few years ago, I had the opportunity to go back to Australia to visit Mr. Daniels and to basically go say thank you. Thank you for, inspiring me. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for motivating me to become more than I am. And I gave him a copy of a book that I wrote called Financial Freedom. And this was basically what he wrote to all the people who would read this book. He pretty much said that he recommends reading it and that I've discovered, like I said, the formula. So today I'm going to talk to you probably for a couple hours just to kind of give you a breakdown of what this course is, what it includes, what it's about, and why you ought to take it. As I said, the first seminar I started in 2012 after I figured that I had already had enough experience in my life to understand that this was not some type of, one-time lucky break or something like that, but that basically there was a science to it. So what is this seminar all about? Basically, this seminar is going to teach you how money works. This seminar is basically a collection of a philosophy that I've built over time about how money works, how money can work for you or how money can work against you, right? At the end of the day, money is just a tool. It's how you use it that ultimately matters. And one of the things that I've learned is that you can pretty much accomplish anything you want in life. You can set any goals. It doesn't matter how big they are. And if you follow the process that I'm going to share with you, you can pretty much accomplish any goal that you want if you're willing to pay the price for it. But everything starts basically with transforming your mindset and having a vision for what you want with your life, right? Many people spend their whole life working for money because they're in debt. So the majority of their money, as we're going to see a little bit later today, goes to pay interest. And that's what basically holds them back like an anchor, doesn't let them swim fast enough towards their goals. I'm going to give you a formula for how to get out of debt quickly and also how to set goals and achieve your goals. So basically, as I said, this seminar was started in 2012. I've been sharing it. It's been growing primarily here in El Paso in Texas, but now we're expanding to other parts. And now with COVID here, basically it allows us to share it with anybody who wants to listen over the internet. And so it really opens up our borders in a great way. I believe we even have some people registered for the seminar from other countries like in Africa. So that I find that to be very interesting. So anyway, over the years, I've developed, the first seminar I started was Financial Freedom Seminar. Over the years, I've started other seminars. Some of them focus on finances. Some of them focus on personal development. In January, I'm going to launch a new series called University of Success, which I did a couple years ago. And that's a step-by-step class that lasts pretty much all 12 months, where I share with you, all the different ingredients of what it takes to hit your financial goals in life. So basically, hopefully you're ready for financial freedom. I'm going to share with you a bit more. Let me go on to the next set of slides here. Okay. All right, so let's talk about a concept called the American Dream. So what is the American Dream? The American Dream is something that pretty much a lot of people have come here chasing, right? Ever since this country was founded, it was founded on a notion of freedom. It was founded on a notion that people could pursue opportunity, and that it was founded on the basis that if you were willing to work hard enough, you could pretty much accomplish anything. However, today I feel that a lot of this American dream is no longer alive for a lot of people. A lot of people have settled, a lot of people are trapped. And so basically, I want to help people rediscover this American dream, right? This is a country of immigrants. People have come here from every country in the world. And basically, they come looking for a lot of things. Some people come looking to enjoy better financial life. Some people come looking to give their family a better opportunity. Some people look to have the house or the car of their dreams. Some people want to enjoy a wonderful retirement. But at the end of the day, basically people want to have a great relationship, right? With their wife, with their husband, with their kids. And yet we find that a lot of times the American dream is not a reality for a lot of people, quite the opposite. Most people find themselves trapped in debt, and they feel that money is never enough. They work really hard, and yet it doesn't seem to ever be enough. They wonder how they're going to save for their kids' college education. They end up being stressed about finances all the time. Many people don't know how to invest, or basically they just rely on somebody else to invest for them. And they just kind of hope, am I going to have enough for retirement? A lot of people that I run into say, well, if I could only make more money. They think that making more money is a solution to their problems. However, what I find is that oftentimes the way people think about making more money is either taking on a second job, or maybe betting on having good luck, like buying a lottery ticket or betting on some horse race, or gambling. Other people think it's just a matter of being lucky and finding the right investment, like Bitcoin. They hear stories about people who invested in Bitcoin and became millionaires. Other people say, can I have a stock tip? They think it's a matter of finding a right stock tip or joining the right multi-level marketing at an early stage. So there's a lot of misunderstandings. And what I often tell people is that if you don't understand how money works, even if you happen to get more money, it's going to go just as quickly as it came, right? And it's going to slip right out of your hands. A lot of people ask me, well, what should I invest in? Is it better to invest in real estate? Is it better to invest in, like I said, cryptocurrencies or stock market or gold? Well, I'm going to tell you that the answer is none of the above. The real answer is that you have to invest in your own financial education, because once you have that, you're going to discover that that's the key to advancing in life very, very quickly. The sad reality, though, is, as we said, that a lot of people, are stuck with lots of bills, lots of debts. They spend a lot of time away from home. They are, they have a mortgage, they have credit cards, they have student loans. A lot of people don't have anything saved for retirement. And in the end, we know that that 50% of the couples end up in divorce, and that the largest cause of divorce is oftentimes fighting about money, right? So my goal is to help to try to turn this around. My goal is to try to help people become part of the 5% who make it and who achieve the American dream, not part of the 95% who struggle, right? So now I'd like to kind of go over, why is it that 95% of the people struggle? What is it that causes them to basically struggle so much and not be able to make it the way that they think, or they hope that it should happen for them? So let's kind of go through those reasons. How did we get here? Okay, well, basically there's 5 stages in life. If you think about a timeline, right, of most people's lives. In the first 18 years of their life, they're born, they're kids, they grow up, they go to school. In the second stage of their life, maybe they go to university or learn some trade, basically learn how to take care of themselves and make their own money. In the third stage of their life, they basically work typically for around at least 40 years. And the purpose basically is to provide for themselves and their family, right? And hopefully save for their retirement. The fourth stage is when they finally reach retirement. The idea is to basically have made enough to enjoy life, and then eventually we'll all be gone from this planet one day, right? Hopefully a long time from now. Now, when it comes to money, there's actually two phases of money, right? The first phase is basically when you're actively trying to pursue opportunities to make money. So I call that active income. And the goal is to basically accumulate enough so that by the time you retire, you can then depend on what I call passive income. Passive income is basically money working for you instead of you working for the money. Now, oftentimes I run into people who maybe did save, but then their only goal is to basically eat away and spend all their capital, and they just hope that they can basically, their money doesn't run out before they die, right? And that's not the goal. The goal that I want to help is basically for people to have more and more, as time goes by, taking the appropriate risks suitable to their age and to their temperament. Now, we know that a lot of times people work really hard, right? Perhaps you're a hard worker, and yet sometimes it feels no different than these little hamsters, right? Who just go around and around in a cage and don't seem to get very far. People work hard trying to pursue happiness, trying to figure out, what could I do? What could I buy to make me happy? And yet they end up just tired, right? A lot of people pursue a lot of things. They buy things. They think things are going to make them happy. And yet we find that basically we often buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people that we don't like. Now, how did we get here? The main thing is that we have to realize that we received what I call bad programming since we were young. Pretty much most of our parents had good intentions, but unfortunately they gave us what I call a bad script. So what is this script? Basically, it goes something like this. You've probably heard it and you can probably repeat it yourself. Your parents probably told you, son, daughter, you should go to school and study really hard, try to get good grades so that someday you can graduate and get a good job. So that someday you can work hard, make some money, and then buy the things that make you happy, right? And then most people end up getting into debt, and basically that's where they stay the rest of their life. So let's kind of think about this step by step. Like I said, when a person, here I have two axes, the time axis and the money axis. When a person is born, right, at age 0 and time 0, they don't have any money. And during the first 18 years of their life, again, they're dependent on their parents. They don't have any money of their own. And yet at age 18, they start to make what I call critical decisions. So what's the first critical decision? Well, first of all, people are told, hey, you need to be a student. If you want to get ahead in life, you should go get a university degree. So most people begin down the path of getting into what I call the debt trap, because most people didn't save, or their parents didn't save for college. And so they get some student loans, right? I've known people who have sometimes tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of loans. And oftentimes they've been paying these loans for 10 years and they still haven't made not even $1 of progress. They don't understand why. I'll explain that a little bit later. But anyway, the bottom line is that at age 18, people are expected to start making some pretty critical decisions like, should I get a degree? What field? What university? Who's going to pay for it? Should I study a master's after I finish? Should I study a PhD, right? The point is, economically speaking, that's when people start falling into the debt trap. Then once they graduate, basically they're programmed to be an employee. I hardly don't know any people whose goal isn't just to simply get a job as soon as they graduate. I don't know people who say, hey, I'm going to go start a business. And there's nothing wrong with being an employee. However, when you are an employee, you're going to be limited roughly in how much money you make. And so most people, unconsciously, they say, well, I'm going to get the best paying job with the best benefits, that I can possibly find. And that's fine. However, when you become an employee, the other thing that happens is you get a silent partner called Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam says, hey, it's your duty to start paying taxes for the rest of your life. So since 1913, people have been paying the income tax. And so basically a lot of their money goes to pay and support the government. Now, the other thing is that people are programmed to be consumers, right? A lot of people are told, hey, we've got this holiday coming up, Thanksgiving, Labor Day weekend, Mother's Day, Christmas, Black Friday, et cetera. And all these things are just aimed at people basically to go shopping, to go buy things with money that they don't have, right? Because they're basically told if you buy things, these things are going to make you happy. So when people don't have money, where do they get the money? Well, they get a credit card and they keep falling deeper into debt. the next step is, after they get the first job, they usually say, well, I need a nice car. I can now afford it. Now they go buy themselves what? A new car, right? Most people don't go get a used car. They get a new car. They get a car loan. And if they are like the typical person, they might spend $40,000 on a new car. They finance it. I've seen people who get interest rates on their first car anywhere from 10%, 12%. It's crazy. Obviously, some people get really low interest rates, but I've seen some people who get really high interest rates. So if you do the math, what you pay for the car plus the interest, if you get a new car every 5 years and if you eventually get married, you could easily end up spending over $1 million on cars over your lifetime. It's pretty crazy, right? So a lot of people go deeper into debt for their car loans. Then let's say that you buy yourself a nice car, maybe a red sports car, right? If you're a guy, and why do you get that? Well, because you want to find the girl of your dreams, impress her, sweep her off her feet, and eventually you're going to propose to her and say, hey, let's get married. Now, if you get married, what comes next? Well, now you have to spend money on the wedding rings, the wedding dress, the bachelorette party, the rehearsal dinner, the wedding hall, flowers, music, et cetera, right? Easily, you're going to spend at a minimum of $10,000. You might actually end up spending close to $100,000 by the time this whole thing is over, right? And so when you come back from the party, from the honeymoon, you find that you're even deeper into debt, assuming your parents didn't help you out. Well, then what happens? Okay, eventually you run out and you say, okay, honey, we already have 1 or 2 kids. We don't fit in this apartment anymore. Let's go buy a house. Right now, interest rates are great, so a lot of people are buying houses. And so if you do the math, most people end up buying a new house or upgrading houses every 10 years or so. So over the course of their life, they might start at a starter home, maybe at $250,000, but with all the interest, they're going to end up paying sometimes twice, sometimes even 3 times what the house cost them just to afford this house, because most of the money that they're paying goes into interest. So again, people fall even deeper into the debt trap. Then some people might say, hey, in case you pass away, you should have some term life insurance, right? And don't buy whole life. You should buy term life insurance and put the rest of the money into some 401k or some type of mutual fund so that you can make money in the market. So people are programmed to be basically passive investors. A lot of gurus on TV say, if you invest in the stock market, like you can easily make 10 to 12% per year. Well, that was probably true a few decades ago, but that is not true every single year, and certainly hasn't been true recently. The average return is more closer to 5%. But anyway, so when it all comes down to it, you have to ask yourself, where does all the money go, right? People work really hard and yet never seem to have much money. Where did it go? Well, a lot of it went to the universities in the form of tuition. Some of it went to taxes, to the government in the form of taxes. Some of it went to the banks in the form of interest. Some of it went to the insurance companies in the form of premiums. And the rest of it probably went to some merchants in all the consumption that you did. The question that I have is, how much is really something that you're going to keep for yourself, right? If you analyze the script that we were given, it doesn't really work, right? Basically, we were told the way to get ahead in life was to spend and get into debt. So people go to university to get a degree and they end up with student loans. People get a job and they end up with a limited income. People get a new car, they end up with a car loan. People don't have enough to spend on the things they want, they end up with credit cards. People want a new home, they end up with a mortgage, right? If they say, well, I'm not making enough, they go back to school and start all over again. They stop making money while they're in school. And then basically whatever little bit they have left, they put it into a retirement plan where it's outside of their reach, where they can't really access this money during their lifetime till they're 65. Well, by that time, they probably have been stuck in debt most of their life. So the question is, how much is really left for you to start a business, to invest in opportunities, to travel, to give to others, to enjoy your retirement, or even to leave an inheritance? Most people, the answer is probably not very much. So I've described to you something that's probably a little bit depressing, right? But it probably describes somewhat accurately the life of most people. Why? Because that's what we all pass on to the future generations, right? We tell them, this is the path, son, daughter, of what I was told, and this is what you should follow as well. The thing they don't tell you is that you're going to be stuck in debt pretty much the rest of your life if you follow this path. It's pretty easy to get into debt, but it's not so easy to get out of debt, right? And part of what I'm going to teach you in this course is how to reverse this debt cycle and how to start getting out of it fairly quickly. All right, let's go on to the next set of slides here. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast, but it's just that I have a lot of material and I'm trying to get through it as fast as possible. So let's understand a little bit further, why is it that people get into debt, right? We already saw how people get into debt. The question is why? Why do people fall into debt so quickly? Well, what really happens if we think about it, debt is not the real problem. The problem is other things like greed, self-indulgence, impatience, fear, poor self-image, lack of self-discipline, and many other symptoms, right? What we don't realize is that we want things now, and so we're trying to, since we don't want to save, basically we say, well, I'll just borrow and I'll worry about it later. The problem is tomorrow you'll want to buy some other things, and if you keep doing it the same way, then basically you're just going to dig a deeper hole for yourself, and it won't be easy to get out, right? Young people don't realize how hard it is to get out of debt. And so oftentimes they basically just spend their whole life going deeper and deeper into debt. And by the time they're, I don't know, 40, 50 years old, they come to say, geez, man, what did I really do? Like now I don't know how to get out. They start feeling like it's hopeless. Credit can be a dangerous thing because when you give a young person too much credit, right, basically they can take advantage of it and not really know what they put themselves into. It gives you an appearance of wealth without it being wealth itself, right? Basically, it allows you to buy today and pay later. But emotionally, it might start to drag you lower and lower, and it becomes a trap. A lot of people then become dependent on looking at their mail to see if there's like some other offer for like easy credit where you've been pre-approved, and hoping that they can just transfer credit cards from one to the next, or that they can refinance their home, right? And debt becomes a form of slavery. We may not be actual slaves today, but oftentimes I would say that we are financial slaves. And so basically, you know, the Bible says don't owe anything to anybody, and I think that that's a good rule to follow. Basically, most people, I think if they had a good understanding of how debt works from a young age, they would probably make different choices in their life, right? A lot of people, when they are too far into debt, they drive down the freeway and they see a sign that says, hey, if you're in debt, call us, you know, 1-800, we'll help you go bankrupt. And basically what they don't tell you is that you're going to ruin your life for at least 7 years. It's not a good choice, and I don't recommend it to anybody. So I found a book that basically we're going to learn through this course called The Richest Man in Babylon. Maybe some of you have read it, have heard about it, maybe not. Regardless, even if you haven't read it, we're going to read it together. We're going to explain it to you. And this book contains a lot of very cool secrets about how money works. And the more that I've read it, the more that I find that it's very wise in all of the advice that it gives. We're going to start with the chapter called The Camel Trader, and we're going to read it pretty quickly. So before you feel hopeless and before you say, well, geez, you know, I'm depressed now, I want you to know that there's hope. I want you to know that there's better days ahead, that it's not over, especially if you've lost your job or something happened to you because of COVID. You know, don't worry about it. Like basically there is a better life for you. There is hope. And I think that this course can help you get back on track towards making the most out of your life. All right, so let's go ahead and read the first of many chapters that we're going to read out of this book called The Camel Trader. I'm not going to read it word by word. I'm just going to kind of summarize for you what this chapter says. So basically, there was a young man named Tarkad, and this guy didn't have a job and he was hungry. So he decided to steal a couple of figs and some fruits and took off running, right? As he was running, basically he ran into this other guy that he owed some money to called Dabasir. Dabasir says, hey, I'm glad I ran into you because you owe me a couple of copper coins. So where's my money? And the guy says, geez, I don't really have it, you know, like, I'm sorry, I just don't have it. And he says, well, why don't you have it? And the guy says, well, because I have bad luck, right? And he says, why do you blame bad luck, right? It's not bad luck, it's just the fact that you are weak. And he says, join me while I eat. I'm going to tell you a story. So Davasir begins to tell a story. He sits down. This story takes place 5,000 years ago in Old Babylon. And Davasir sits down, orders some food, orders a goat leg, and says, okay, I'm going to tell you a story, and you sit here and listen and get him a drink of water. So the poor guy has to sit there listening to this guy drinking some water while he's hungry. So basically, the guy who's going to tell a story bites the goat leg, and then he says, I'm going to tell you a story. When I was young, I actually became a slave, and I'm going to tell you how that happened. So he says, when I was young, I got married. I had a beautiful wife. We started to enjoy our life. We started to buy things, clothes, a beautiful house, etc. But we just kept spending and spending. And when we didn't have enough money for all of the stuff that we were spending, I decided to borrow money from my friends, from my neighbors, from my family, from all kinds of people. I was borrowing money. And basically, eventually, I ran out of people that I could borrow, right? So things went from bad to worse. I couldn't repay these people. And eventually, I had to run off because everybody was chasing me down. He got into a fight with his wife. The wife went back to her father. And basically, he didn't know what to do, so he left town. When he left town, he joined forces with some thieves, some robbers, who wanted to basically steal money from caravans who were going from one city to the other. So this guy went ahead and joined them, and he was successful in the first attempt to try to rob people. Unfortunately for him, the second time he tried to do that, he got unlucky, and instead they got a beating, and they ended up being sold off as slaves. So all these robbers became slaves, and basically now he knew he was in trouble, right? He went off to an auction, and he got sold off to a master who had 4 wives. And this guy was taken home, and he tells his 4 wives, and he says, hey, I just bought this slave. I could turn him into a eunuch if you want, or what do you want me to do with him? A eunuch basically is a man who doesn't have his manly parts. And basically these women started laughing, and this guy started getting pretty nervous. And he said, oh my God, I'm going to be in trouble. The oldest of the 4 wives spoke up and said, look, we already have plenty of eunuchs. What we don't have and what we need is a guy who can take care of the camels. I'd like some guy who knows how to take care of the camels. So the master asked the slave, hey, do you know anything about camels? What do you think the guy replied? If his choices was become a eunuch, right, or know something about camels, he said, oh yeah, I know everything about camels. I'm an expert at camels. I know how to make them sit. I know how to make them stand. I know how to feed them. I can walk them to take long trips. So he said, perfect. So basically this guy became the elder wife's camel tender. And so basically they started to form a relationship. He started explaining to this woman, hey, thank you for saving my life. Thank you for, by the way, I'm not really a slave. I was born a free man. And I used to live in Babylon, but I made some mistakes. And she says, no, you didn't make some mistakes. She says, you were weak. You are a slave. And he says, no, I'm not. And she says, yeah, you are. And she says, you have the soul of a slave and you behave like a slave. And that's why you're here. And this guy starts to try to fight back, but he says, look, do you have a desire to pay back your debts? Well, I'm not so sure. He's like, I do, but I don't see how. She's like, well, then just be happy becoming a slave. If you don't want to pay back your debts, you're not a respectable man. And he says, well, what could I do, right? I'm just a slave. She says, well, stay a slave. You're a weakling. He says, I'm not a weakling. Well, prove it. How? She says, well, you ought to basically think about coming up a plan with how to pay back the people who trusted you, right? Your debts were not the people who lent you money were not the enemy. The enemy was the debt. And what you needed to do was basically to man up and pay back these people and not stiff them the way you did. Well, he turns away feeling pretty bad, but he's thinking about everything that she says to him, right? One day she says to him, look, my mother's very sick. I need to go visit her. Why don't you put together a couple camels, load them up with lots of food, and take me to see my mother. On the way there, she says to him, look, Davasir, do you have the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave? If you're a slave, then just forget about it. But if you have the soul of a free man, I want you to prove it. She says, I'm going to give you an opportunity. Tonight, the master is going to get drunk. And when he's drunk, I want you to take off and steal the 2 camels that I've loaded up for you with food. And basically, this is going to be your opportunity. Go back to your wife, go back and pay the debts, and good luck to you. So the guy says, well, thank you so much, for this opportunity. And he takes off in the middle of the night. And he knows that if they catch him, he's a dead man, right? Like, people didn't reward people who stole their master's property. So this guy takes off through the desert. He's facing, sun, he's facing heat, he's facing like a very difficult journey back to Babylon. And eventually he runs out of food, eventually he runs out of water, and eventually he drops to the ground and he says, geez, I don't think I'm going to make it. I think like I'm just going to die here. Like, I don't even know, why I decided to try this. Like, I'm just a slave. But yet inside of him, he's got this wrestling that he's going through, right? And he's saying, well, geez, I feel hungry and I don't want to die, but like, I don't know if I have it in me to get back up. And as he's thinking about it, eventually he asks himself the question, do I have the soul of a slave or do I have the soul of a free man? Right? If I'm a slave, I might as well just die. But if I have a soul of a free man, then I have to get up. I have to go back to Babylon and I have to go back to my wife and I have to basically, become a man again. And he realizes what she said was true. The people who lent him money were not his slaves. He just became weak. So then something strange happens, right? All of a sudden he has this thought and he says, you know what? I'm not going to die in the desert. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go have a new life. I'm going to face everything that I needed to do. And I'm going to make myself a free man. And I'm going to make my parents proud and my wife proud. And I'm going to face my enemies, which are these debts. I'm going to pay them off and I'm going to become a free man. So all of a sudden, right, even the camels said, oh my God, like this guy's got like a new brightness in his eyes. And all of a sudden, even the camels got up, and they started walking away. So eventually they found some water. Eventually they made it back to Babylon. And eventually, basically, he repaid all of the people that he owed money to, and he had a happy ending. Then the story goes back to the conversation he had with the young man, right? And he says, Tarkad, what about you? Are you ready to turn your life around? Are you ready to start paying back your debts? Or do you want to be a slave your whole life? Young man started to cry and he said, yeah, you've shown me a new vision. You've shown me what it's like, to be a free man. And how did you do it? And he says, well, when I came back, basically I used my talents and my skills as a camel trader and I started working, earning money. I eventually paid back all of these people. I had to confront them. Some of them were upset at me, but eventually, when I paid them back, I made my peace with a lot of these people. And so basically the young man, once he has a change of heart, a change of attitude, this guy says, hey, bring him some food, he's gonna eat dinner with me. And so basically that's kind of the end of the story. The moral of the story is, if you have a desire, if you have a goal, right? If you have a vision and you have the determination to make it happen, there is a way. And so I want to tell you that basically, if your goal is to achieve a better life for yourself, for your family, if you are in debt or if you don't have enough investments, right? If you have something bigger that you want to do with your life financially, I believe that there's a better way. And I believe that it starts with basically having goals, with setting a clear goal for your life. So let me tell you how you can do this. Many of you have probably seen the movie Star Wars maybe years ago. You know that there was the bad guys, right? Darth Vader and the Emperor, and there was the good guys, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and the Princess Leia and stuff. And the title of the very first movie that came out was called A New Hope. So I want you to know that basically, if you have the desire to improve your life financially, it all starts with having hope, right? You have to believe that something good is possible. So let's review kind of what we've talked about here today. We said that basically most people would like to pursue the American dream, and yet their life is very different, right? A lot of people are facing a lot of problems, in their finances. A lot of people are stuck in debt. And the main reason is because they followed the script that they were given since they were young. Most people didn't even realize they were following that script and that they were getting deeper and deeper into debt. However, as we learned from the camel trader, you can become financially free and prosperous, right? But it takes a determination, it takes a desire, it takes a commitment to basically do whatever it takes. And you have to start by having hope. Hope is basically that confidence that there is something better, that if you keep moving ahead, it can be better than it's been in the past, that the future can be brighter than the past, right? And I'm here to tell you that I think that the key to making life better is to basically have and acquire financial education. And that's what I'm going to share with you in the next few slides. I'm going to tell you what this course is all about and how it can help you basically achieve all of your financial goals and dreams in life, no matter how big or how small they might be. The main thing that we want to do is to basically help you move your life in a different direction, right? The first thing you have to kind of ask yourself is, where am I today and where is it that I want to go tomorrow, right? You have to, kind of like in a GPS, right? You put in your destination. What's the same thing here? Financially speaking, you have to identify and be clear about where you are financially, and then what's it going to take for you to reach the destination that you want to go to. So basically, once you develop this new hope, the key is to acquire financial education, and that starts by understanding your core beliefs. All of us carry beliefs about money that we don't even realize, and we have to start by switching a lot of those beliefs and basically getting rid of the negative beliefs, getting rid of the limitations that somebody put on us or we allowed somebody to put on us, and becoming clear about what it is that you really want out of life. Becoming clear about your ideal vision for your life. What is your purpose in life? What are your values? Setting straight your priorities. And basically, we're going to analyze what I call the game of life. The game of life basically tells you where you stand financially every single month. I'm going to show you using a spreadsheet how you can measure your progress financially month by month so that you can see whether you're getting, moving ahead or whether you're going backwards. But we're going to start by asking basically a new set of questions that you have to ask yourself. Why are you here, right? What are the things that matter most to you? Do you care about giving your family a better life? Do you need more peace of mind? Do you want a better future? What would you do if you knew that there was a better way to have a better life? What would you be willing to do to consider this new possibility? If you were totally debt-free, right, and you never had to get into debt again, and you had all the money in the world, what would you do with that money? Who would you help? Where would you go? What would you build? What is it that you would do? How would your life change? If you had a steady, predictable set of income, what would you be willing to do to protect and benefit your family? So that's kind of what this course is about. I want you to start taking off the limits from yourself. Start imagining, what would happen if I could achieve anything, if anything was possible, if money was not an object, if money was not a limitation on my life, what would I really do? I know some of you might be thinking, well, that's just crazy. Like, that's not how life works. Well, I want to tell you that it does work like that if you make it work like that. I've been working at this for 25 years, and every year life gets better and better for me. And I thank God that I found this path. And I'm, like I said, my goal is to kind of help share it with you how it works. So I showed you how people fall into debt. Now let me show you how you can get out of it and how you can basically enjoy life in several different steps that can help you achieve a much better life financially. So we said that most people follow the red line, they fall into debt, and then they stay in the blue line, which basically means they just kind of stay in debt the rest of their life, right? In this course, I'm going to teach you a concept called pay yourself first. Pay yourself first basically means that you don't spend money that you don't have, and that you actually start focusing on saving money. Saving money is the key to getting you in a different direction. Now, what you do with the savings, well, that's what ultimately matters, right? So the first thing is you have to start investing in yourself by acquiring the knowledge that I'm going to share with you, investing in this education. Start saving, which is going to help you start to get out of debt. As you start to get out of debt, it's going to become like a snowball, which then eventually is going to help you become debt-free. When you become debt-free, what that means is that you're no longer subject to the banks, you're no longer paying them interest, right? And with all this money that you're no longer paying them, you can then start to invest. You can invest in a business, you can invest in the market, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in whatever. I can teach you how to do that. And I'm also going to teach you a concept called become your own bank, right? So you're going to go from a stage of being in scarcity to being in abundance to being in prosperity. From prosperity, you're going to jump to a stage called liberty, right? The goal is to develop enough passive income so that it takes care of your expenses and so that you can start living the life that you want, basically by having your money work for you. As you repeat this process over and over again, you can start basically accelerating your lifestyle and basically start to give some of this money away to charities, to other people. You can form a foundation. You can leave behind, an impact on many other people's lives. One of the things that I'm going to teach you in this course is that life and money is not about being selfish. At the end of the day, happiness is found by sharing with others, both what you know and what you have. And I'm going to teach you that, being selfish is not the point of this course. It's actually quite the opposite. It's actually being generous with your newfound wealth and with your prosperity so that you can help others also advance, right? One of the best things that I think you can do for somebody is to start a company and hire them, offer them a job. Because a lot of people, that's all they know, right? And a lot of people right now are jobless. Over 50 million people have lost their job through this crisis. So one of the best things that I can teach you is how to basically become an entrepreneur, how to invest, but it all begins going back to the root of investing in yourself, right? So let me give you now 12 steps of how we're going to do this, because I believe that this is where the key is. Okay, so what do you need to do? Number one, you need to basically wake up and realize that it's time to take control of your life. You can't just kind of live day to day to see what happens, right? You can't just be drifting through life with no direction. You actually need to basically chart out a course for yourself, set some goals. Doesn't matter if they're big or small. The point is you have to kind of know what you're after. And you have to realize that nobody's going to make it happen for you. Nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to basically do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. You have to take responsibility for your own life. And you have to realize that once you do that, it's very powerful. Second, you're going to start developing a burning desire and a new mindset. What does this mean? So this means that you're going to I'm going to help you set out a clear set of goals so that you know exactly what you're aiming for, right? It could be a new car, it could be a new house, could be a start a business, it could be $1 million. I don't know. I mean, each person is individual, each person is different, but whatever motivates you, whatever you are motivated by, that's what you ought to write down and set some goals, right? Then you have to kind of assess your current situation. You say, okay, here's my goal, right? $1 million or whatever it might be. Here's where I am today. I have $1,000. Okay, well, I obviously need to do something to get from here to there. You don't just set one big goal. You have to actually set some intermediate goals. So I'm going to help you how to assess your current position. And then you're going to start to set these goals. I call it, an ideal vision of your life. Some people call it a vision board. I mean, it doesn't matter what you call it. The point is doing the exercise that once you have a clear idea of what would make you happy and you start putting it down and you start writing it down, you start putting it on a big board with images, it really does something to your psyche, which motivates you to basically make this happen. And usually it happens a lot faster than you realize it, especially if you have a purpose, if you have a reason for why you want these things. The step number 5 is you have to realize that there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? Nothing is free in this world. Everything has a cost. The question is, are you willing to pay that cost, no matter what it is? If you are, then you will be able to achieve it. If you're not, well, then it's just going to be a dream and, it's never going to happen. The key, however, is making a commitment, right? The commitment is basically to yourself to say, hey, you know what, I think that this goal is worth it, and I think I'm worth it, and I think that I have what it takes in order to make this goal a reality in my life. It takes courage, it takes persistence, right? There's going to be times when your goals are not going to be easy. There's going to be times when life is not easy, there's problems, but look, if you've got the commitment, I can guarantee that you've got what it takes to make it happen. Then you're going to acquire financial education over the next 10 weeks. I'm going to show you how money works. Once you understand it and it's very clear in your mind, if you have this framework in your mind, okay, then you're going to be able to make decisions very quickly. When money comes into your hands, you're going to say, okay, this money's for this purpose, not for that. And you're going to make decisions very quickly, which help you start to make progress towards your goals. I'm going to teach you a new script, which is going to replace the old script that you learned, so that basically you become empowered and that every time you start making the right decisions and not the wrong decisions, right? You're going to develop a plan, which is a step-by-step, month-by-month plan of what you're supposed to do every month so that you are on track to hit your financial goals. Some goals could take 6 months. For example, I've had people who get out of credit card debts in 6 to 12 months. I've had other people whose goal is, you know what, I want to pay off my house. So they pay off their house. I've seen them in fast as 3 or 4 years. You're not going to get rich overnight. Nothing's going to happen in one day. However, if you set goals, you're going to achieve them a lot faster than if you don't. So the key is you have to start making new decisions on a daily basis, right? Every single day we make decisions about what we wear, what we eat, where we go. Same thing, how we spend our money, right? The money that we make, the money that we spend, these are all micro decisions, and you have to be very conscious and very aware of the decisions that you're making, because those little decisions add up to basically what ends up happening to you over the long haul. Then with everything that you've learned, with your goals, with your vision, you're going to start to take daily action, right? You're going to set little goals for yourself every day of what it takes. If you're going to be making some sales, if you're going to be starting a business, if you're going to market, if you're going to pay off debt, whatever it is, you're going to make some goals and take action on those goals on a daily basis. And then number 12, you're going to set some milestones so that you can also celebrate your results and your wins, right? So financial freedom is not just a destination. Financial freedom is actually a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle of a journey of success. It's a journey of wins. It's a journey of achieving goals. For example, this morning, I actually just received a new Lamborghini that I just bought. You know, it's something that I had wanted since 10 years ago. I hadn't traded one in. This last week, I traded my old car in, and now I've got a new one. So again, some goals could be long-term, some goals could be short-term, right? But the point is that you can basically achieve anything that you want, and I'm very convinced because I've seen it and I've done it over the last 20 plus years of my life. So at the end of the day, to kind of summarize and bring this to a close, everything that we've been talking about, most people, you know, they live their life just kind of drifting through life, right? They don't have any goals. They don't have any direction. They're just kind of seeing, yeah, let's see what happens. You know, let's see what the news is today. Let's see what other people are doing. Let's see what my friends are doing. You're never going to get anywhere with that attitude and by following that plan. What you need to do, like I said, is wake up, take control of your life, realize that your life is like a cruise ship and you're the captain, right? You have to take control of the steering wheel and start moving in the direction of what you want. If you've ever been on a cruise ship, you know that every day there's like a different destination and the captain makes sure that the boat gets there, right? That's the attitude you got to take, is that I'm no longer going to be cruising, seeing which way life and the waves of life take me. I'm going to set my course and I'm going to move in the direction that I want. Albert Einstein once said that basically if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, like that's insanity, right? You have to start doing something new. And that's why I'm going to teach you basically a new script. So here it goes. I'm going to summarize it for you over the next 10 weeks. We're going to get into each of these things step by step and go into detail one of these things per week so that you can really cement what this new philosophy is going to do for you. So as I said, when you were growing up, most people probably told you, hey, you know, the way to get ahead in life is basically to spend and get into debt. They didn't tell you in those words, but that's essentially what ended up happening, right? That was the result. I'm here to tell you, no, the way you get ahead in life is you have to basically become a producer. You have to decide that you want to prosper and dare to prosper, and then you have to set a goal to become financially free. So how do we do that? Well, instead of going to university, I would say to you, no, what you have to do is you have to invest in yourself. Like I said, I've created a course called University of Success. There's lots of other books and materials, but basically the point is you have to do something to invest in yourself every single day so that basically you become a better person who's more prepared to confront life every single day. They told you, hey, you have to be a consumer, right? The way to become happy is to spend. No, I'm telling you the way that you become prosperous is by realizing that you're a producer, right? You have to create something of value to the marketplace And that's how you're going to make all the money that you want, right? Spending and buying is only temporary, limited, but where there's real happiness and real satisfaction is in producing and creating something that's of value to other people. And that's how you're going to get rewarded, right? A lot of people, they just know how to borrow and get into debt. Well, I'm going to teach you how to pay yourself first, how to get out of debt, and basically how to keep money working for you and not you working for the money. A lot of people focus on getting a job. That's limited income. No, I'd like to teach you, if you allow me to, how to become your own boss. And if you already are your own boss, how to make even more money with your business. Basically, because I think investing in your business is a great opportunity that basically has unlimited rewards and can give you unlimited income. A lot of people focus on buying a car or a new home, and that's cool. I like having a car and a new home too. However, I think it's more important, rather than borrowing from a bank to buy those things, I think it's more important to learn how to become the bank. So I'm going to teach you a process called becoming your own bank, which allows you to basically finance all of the major things that you want and keep the interest that you would have otherwise paid to a bank. And I'm going to teach you also why it's important to become debt-free ASAP, right? Stop wasting your money, giving it to the banks, put it in your own pocket, make it work for you. The next thing I'm going to teach you is basically why you don't really need a master's, or whatever to make more money. You have to basically realize that God already gave you a gift inside of you here called your mind, which can come up with wonderful ideas and wonderful ways to basically acquire more money. And that's what you need to work on, right? You don't need to spend 2 years getting a master's or some other degree. Basically, you have to work on yourself to come up with ideas that can give you value in the marketplace. Now, a lot of people don't invest enough time and attention to their family, to their kids, to their wife. I want to tell you that it's very important to invest time in your family, in your wife, in your husband, in your kids. Be a role model and basically teach them through your own life and example how to be prosperous and how to be financially free. A lot of people, they basically, if something were to happen to them, their family would be totally unprotected, right? Or they have the wrong kind of insurance, or they only have like some little bit of insurance that they were given at work. Well, I want to show you how you can own your own insurance, make sure that it's enough, and make sure that it's something that's growing. I've shown people how to start with the small insurance policy that can grow up to 10x over the course of their life, so that if something ever happens to them, their family will be taken care of. They will have protected their family and leave a heritage that can last for many generations. A lot of people are interested in the subject of investment. I have a whole course where I teach people how to invest. Here, I'm going to teach you the principles of investment so that you don't make some basic mistakes, right? A lot of people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to their money, and they end up risking and losing it all. And I want to help you avoid making those mistakes. A lot of people, like I said, throw their money away into a retirement plan. You don't need that, 401k or IRA. I have something better that I'm going to show you that basically can help you generate what I call predictable passive income. So if we put it all together, what you're going to learn at the end of this process, right, and you're going to apply it in your life on a daily basis, is you're going to realize, hey, God has already given me everything that I need. I'm a producer, right? Yes, you're a consumer, of course, but the main thing you have to realize is that I'm a producer. God has given me a lot of tools, a lot of gifts that came inside of me when I was born. He gave me a wonderful mind so that I can think of great ideas. He gave me a heart to know, to make decisions, to decide. He gave me the power to speak. He gave me the power to decide. You know what? You have the power to create lots of wealth. You are also going to realize that you are your number one investment. A lot of people are always looking to invest outside of themselves. The reality is you have to invest in yourself, right? That's what's going to give you the best return on investment. You have to realize that it's great to work for somebody else, but it's better to work for yourself, right? So I'm going to teach you and encourage you how to do that. Like I said, it's great to use the bank down the corner, but it's better to become your own bank. So I'm going to teach you how to become your own bank. It's better to become financially free and to basically learn how to prosper. And that takes a vision and a desire of knowing what you want. And lastly, I'm going to show you that to put it all together, being selfish is not the key. Like I said, being generous and helping other people along the way is the key to ultimate happiness. So I'm going to help you understand that. Okay, last thing. So to bring this to a close, All right. So basically, I already mentioned to you the different seminars that we have. We started in 2012. So who is this class for? Well, I've had people of all ages take it. I've had teenagers take it. I've had people in their 20s take it. I've had people in their 60s take it. You know, the people who are usually in their 50s or 60s, what they usually say is, geez, I wish I had taken this class 20 years ago. Well, I'm here to tell you it doesn't really matter, you know, when you start. The point is that you start and that you start making progress for the rest of your life. People these days live up till they're 80 or 90. So if you're 60 years old, hey, you got 20, 30 years ahead of you, right? So you still got plenty of time to fix your life around. Now, you don't need to know anything about money. This is a very simple course. I'm going to teach you how to even know more than PhDs in finance by the time you're done. I know you might not believe it, but I've had economists, I've had people with accounting degrees who learn more about accounting in these 10 weeks than they learned in 4 years of college. So anyway, I'm going to teach you, you know, like I said, the formula, how to get out of debt. This is wonderful if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business person. It's going to help you see your business through a different set of lenses. It's going to help you understand how money works, how to take control of your income, how to take control of your expenses, how to pay off your debts, how to invest your money, how to grow your money, how to achieve financial goals, you know, how to be successful. So let's walk through what we're going to learn in each of the next 10 weeks. I've already shown you the introduction today. Basically, we already talked about all these topics. Let's talk about next week. What will you start learning about next week? Well, first of all, we're going to start learning why money is important. Right? Money is important. We all know it's important, but sometimes we don't realize why is it important. So we're going to start by teaching you the history of money. Where did money come from? How did it evolve? You know, what are the different types of money that exist? I'm going to teach you what is credit, you know, how credit works. I'm going to teach you how banking works so that you understand how the banks make money and how they basically suck money out of your life so that you basically stop that process. The second week, I'm going to teach you, basically help you land, where are you right now, right? A lot of people are not clear about where they are, where they want to go. So these are the two things that we're going to deal with in week number 2. We're going to focus on where are you, what is your starting point, you know, so that you can win the game of life and win the game of finances, right? Basic financial education is essential. I'm going to teach you how to develop your own balance sheet so that you have your own assets, your own liabilities. And this is much deeper than just numbers and accounting, believe me. It's going to be a very interesting class. I'm going to help you understand your core beliefs that may be limiting you and help you adopt new beliefs that can empower you to achieve the goals that you want. I'm going to teach you basically how to become clear about your purpose in life, your values, your priorities, so that you can make the right decisions when it comes to your money. I'm going to give you weekly assignments, and you know, if you're going to participate in this course, you don't have to turn the assignment into me, but believe me, if you don't do it, you're going to miss out on a lot. And if you do it, you're going to advance a lot, you know, through your life. The vision, you know, I'm going to help you craft a vision for your life. What is this ideal vision that you would like to see realized in yourself? And for each of us, it's very different. But, you know, hopefully, if you follow through with this exercise, I've seen it transform lots of people's lives in previous seminars that I've given. And I've seen how quickly they start to achieve a lot of these goals. It's very, very impressive. The next thing that I'm going to teach you is basically how to get there, right? How do you get there? Well, you have to basically have a path. You have to make a plan step by step, you know, that shows you how to make more money, how to spend the money, how to track the money. So I'm going to give you a spreadsheet that shows you how to do this month by month so that you know whether you're making progress or not. You'll be able to measure your net worth every single month. We're going to talk about 10 areas of life and 10 areas of money. Number 1 is yourself, and that is going to take up a whole week in and of itself, talking about the different areas within yourself and how the wealth is really inside of you. I'm going to talk about investing in your relationships, primarily in your family, in your friends, and your coworkers, and your employees, and your clients. Number 3, we're going to focus on your results in life, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what really counts, results. And I'm going to teach you principles for making your major purchases, like your home and your cars. Number 4, I'm going to talk about banks, how they work, and how you can become your own bank, basically, and how to pay off debts quickly. Number 5, I'm going to teach you about different types of insurance, which are good, which are bad, which ones you should have, which ones are probably a waste of money. Number 6, I'm going to talk about a business. If you already have a business, how to make your business better. If you don't have a business, why you ought to have a business and how to make it prosperous. Number 7, I'm going to talk about your investments. And basically, this is, like I said, I could spend a year talking about investments, but we're going to simplify it down to the most essential aspects of what you need to know about investing your money. Number 8, we probably don't like taxes, but it's also good to understand and learn taxes so that we basically only pay the minimum essential that we need. And we're going to talk about government, which basically means the different choices that we make and the impact it has on the economy depending on who we elect. I'm not going to get into politics. I'm simply going to show you the impact of different choices. Number 9, we're going to talk about your gifts, your giving, your generosity. And number 10, we're going to talk about estate planning, right? A lot of people, it's an area that they just neglect. You know, if they passed away today, their family would be in chaos. So we're going to explain to you how to do estate planning and why it's important for your loved ones. Oops, I got out of the presentation. There we go. Okay, and then so then those were the 10 topics. So week 3, we're going to talk about, investing in yourself. I pretty much already kind of went into this. Week 2, investing in your family. Week 3, we're going to talk about, how to spend your money effectively, how to create a budget that works, how to keep control of your money so that you know where your money's going. Week 5, we're going to talk about banking and how to get out of debt ASAP. I'm going to show you with some real life examples how I've helped people get out of debt in record time. Even some cases that you would think is just virtually impossible. Week 6, I'm going to teach you how to define your family values, how to protect your assets, why it's important to take care of your family and your assets and not expose yourself to unnecessary risks. I'm also going to teach you this concept of how to become your own bank so that basically you become independent of the banks and you learn how to replace the banks out of your life. Number 7, I'm going to teach you, again, focus in on businesses, share with you some of my experience in starting a business and trying to grow a business, and why it's very good. It's transformational to have a business. Number 8, we're going to talk about investments. Like I said, this is a vast subject. I love investments, and I'm going to teach you what you need to know about growing your capital consistently and why it's important to focus on different aspects of investments. Week 9, we're going to cover the topic of taxes, giving, and estate planning. And the last week, we're going to focus in on basically a summary of this whole course, right? This whole course is kind of like a big puzzle. There's all these pieces, you have to kind of put it together, but once you see the big picture and you look back and you say, oh my God, I really learned a ton over these 10 weeks. Right, you're going to suddenly realize that this could be a big turning point in your life. I've seen a lot of people who say, hey man, this really helped me turn my life around and I'm very thankful that I took this course, right? For people who don't take this course, unfortunately, they're probably just going to continue to drift through life, driving blindly, not really knowing what's going on. For those people who do take this course, it's almost like taking off the blinders, all of a sudden grabbing the steering wheel and having a direction, right, that makes sense, having a purpose for everything that you're doing. You're going to know exactly where you are, why you're spending your money, what you're going to doing with the money that you're making, how to make more money. It's going to give you more clarity, right, and more certainty that is going to give you more confidence to keep moving forward. So this course, again, it's going to help you basically take control of your finances and take control of your life. It's going to help you stop throwing away a lot of money, which could be thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime to financial institutions and banks, when in reality, you want to be putting that money to work for you, right? It's going to help you achieve happier, better relationships with your spouse, with your family, and not fighting so that you don't end up losing everything. A lot of people end up losing everything through divorce, and it's very sad. And I'm going to basically help you chart, the progress that you're making week to week and help you protect your family in case something happens to you. This course is not about recruiting anybody. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not a get rich quick opportunity. It's not multi-level marketing. Basically, it's an opportunity for you to sign up. It's an invitation to invest in yourself. There's going to be no pressure. If you choose not to pursue this, that's cool. We're not going to to try to pressure you into anything. It's basically, we're here to help you if you'd like to help. And we're just here to share what's worked for me, what's worked for many people that I've taught this material to over the years. It's going to help you save thousands of dollars of interest, hundreds of thousands over the rest of your life. It's going to help you develop a more positive attitude towards money. It's going to help you basically make money work for you, not you work for the money, and help you grow, how to grow your wealth. This is a 10-week course. Today was the introduction. It was free. The course itself has a money-back guarantee, 100% money-back guarantee. That means that if you take the whole course and you don't like it and you say, you know what, give my money back, that's fine. We'll refund your money, no questions asked, no problem. We're going to include basically the ability for you to replay all of these videos so that you can see it on your phone. The recordings are going to be available immediately after each session ends, so you can immediately replay it and review it. If you have to leave early, you can always watch the replay. If you miss a class, don't worry about it. I encourage you to join the live classes because we'll be able to ask questions, and I'm going to open up the floor for questions right now in just a minute. But basically, I'm going to give you all the spreadsheets that you need. And basically, think about it as just an investment of your time, right? A lot of people who've given testimonials say it's really worth taking this course. And you don't have to believe me. You can look at some of the testimonials that we have up on Facebook and other places. At the end of the day, the question for you is, are you interested, or are you committed? The difference between being interested and committed is that people who are interested want things that are easy, convenient, where there's no work involved, there's no investment, there's no risk, right? If you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes, to make your life and your dreams come true. And sometimes it means getting out of your comfort zone and taking some calculated risks. So, are you ready for your financial freedom? So what's included? Well, like I said, there's 10 weeks of classes, the book that I wrote, another book that I'm writing right now, all the replays of all the videos, all the spreadsheets. The investment is not that much. It's only $250 if you want to make a one-time payment. If you need a payment plan, there's three payments of $100 per month. The first payment would be due this week before the next class, and then the other ones at the beginning of November and the beginning of December. And like I said, even if you pay the whole thing and you don't like it, you can always get your money back at the end. If you want to have some sessions with me one-on-one, I'm offering 4 sessions so that we can work on your own personal goals. And these sessions would be one-on-one, maybe 1 to 2 hours each. And that would be totally optional for $1,000 for the 4 sessions. So if you think about it, it's a gift because I usually charge $1,000 an hour to my Wall Street clients for consulting. So it's actually not too bad. And again, that's totally optional. If you want to basically stick with this course, the next steps is basically write us an email, let us know that you want to continue for the next 10 classes. You can click on this link to choose a payment plan, the one-time or the 3-month plan. Basically register on Workplace. Workplace is the course, is the site where we record all the classes. I'm going to show you here in a minute what that looks like. And then we sent you an interview, so send us back your questionnaire so that we know that you want it. Let me just kind of share with you what Workplace looks like so that basically I can kind of show you what that is. So hopefully you can see my screen. And basically we have a website that was created by Facebook. The company Facebook created this website called Workplace, and we have a place called successinstitute.workplace.com. When you log in, it looks exactly like Facebook. And what it is that it allows you to basically look at the different groups that we have. You're going to go inside a group called Financial Freedom Seminar, 4th quarter of 2020. And this is where we're basically going to be posting all of the things that we upload. So for example, the people that were here yesterday for the Spanish class, let me see here. We already uploaded for them basically all of the slides that I just shared so that you can review them. We uploaded basically the replay of the video from yesterday. So if you know anybody who wants to take this course in Spanish, that's going to be on Mondays. The English version is going to be on Tuesdays. But basically, this is a place where over the years we've been storing lots of classes with the people who who participate in our courses. And that's just, so that basically you can replay, you can access this from your own cell phone. So it makes it really simple. So anyway, I'm pretty much done with everything that I had to share today. I'd like to basically take some questions on anything that you might have, any thoughts that you had about, what we've been discussing today. And I'm going to unmute the lines and let you speak to see if you have any questions on anything, So is there any questions that I can help answer on any topic, any doubts, anything that you have at all?
Alex, will you email us the link so we can register?
Yes, my assistant Anna is going to send you the link as soon as this is over so that you can register.
Okay,
Thanks.
great.
Thanks, Becky.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
What time are what time are the classes start and what time do they end, Alex?
So all of the classes are going to start at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Tuesdays in English. For some reason you want to take it in Spanish, it's Mondays at the same time, 6 p.m. Usually the classes are going to be between 2 to 3 hours. I know it sounds like a lot, but believe me, it goes pretty quick. And there's so much material that most people are not going to be falling asleep. They're going to be pretty engaged with a lot of the material that we have. This year, my goal is to include a lot of real life case studies so that you can kind of see, what has happened. And I'm going to try to see if I can invite some of the people who've taken it in the past to basically share, how they did it, their strategies, and, what they did. But basically, it's going to be from 6 to 8 roughly. Sometimes it might go a little bit over 6 to 9. But like I said, if you need to leave early or you miss a class, you can always see the replay on this platform.
Okay, so basically, if I get off work at 6:30, I can come in late, right? I can just jump in.
Yeah, you can just jump in at any time and just pick up and watch the first half hour that you missed, after the fact.
After the fact. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I have a question here. It says, if we do group, do we still get assistance with our individual plans? So in the group, if you just do the 250 plan, basically I'm not going to give you personal assistance. I'm going to give you examples so that you can follow it along and so you can create your own plan. If you want me to sit down with you on a one-on-one basis, I'm happy to do that. That's the extra $1,000. And basically that gives you 4 sessions with me, and we basically would do it step by step by step, and I could help you over time. And basically I can guarantee you, even from the first session, you're going to make a return on that money, because I usually help people save thousands of dollars right off the bat. So it's usually a pretty good return on your investment. But like I said, just look and see what the general examples, and you can follow along, adapt it to yourself. But if you'd like to explore the other option, we can talk about that later. Any other questions or comments? Doubts? What did you guys think about any of the topics that we talked on today? And this course is not meant for you to be shy. It's meant to be a little bit interactive. I know the first hour I just kind of talked a lot, but in the future classes, it's meant to be a little bit more interactive. Any other comments or questions?
I have something.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Kristen, I can hear you, but it sounds a little bit blurry. Can you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can kind of hear you. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, actually, the sound quality is pretty bad. Can you type it in?
I thought it was very informative.
Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you're having some issues with your.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better. Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say I was actually referred to you by one of my friends, and she was able to become debt-free from the program, in case anybody was wondering.
Okay, great. Great. Do you know, or
Yes.
can you share your friend's name?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it kind of breaks up a little bit. Angie, okay, yeah, Angie became debt free. That's correct. Angie's a very good student and very impressive what she's done with her life in such a young age. So, well, thank you for joining us. I'm glad you made it. Any other questions? Any other comments? Elvia wrote, the topics sound great, very insightful. Well, I hope so. That's the plan. Any other thoughts or comments? Anybody else? Questions?
Just want to thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Jesus. Appreciate you being here. If you've never taken this course, I think you'll really enjoy it. And even if you have, I think you'll learn a lot of new stuff because I've added more and more material as time has gone by. And this year in particular is going to be kind of with a different angle. So I think you'll enjoy it.
Awesome.
All right. Anybody else? Anything else? Make sure you.
No, I just
Yeah, go ahead.
have a comment. I was just grateful that you're doing this because I've been waiting for you to do one over computer because I know I don't live in El Paso anymore. So I was pretty excited about this.
Oh, okay, great. Where do you live now?
I'm actually in Las Vegas now, so
All right. Well, you're our first student from Las Vegas then. That's
yeah,
great.
so I'm glad you decided to do one online.
Yep. Well, I guess with this COVID thing now, yeah, this is going to go global now. So that's great.
Yeah, so I'm
I'm
pretty
glad-
excited.
I'm
So
glad you joined us. For the
Yeah.
rest of you who are here, can you tell us where you're from? Let's see. So you're from Vegas. John Gall, can you tell us where you're from?
Hello, Alex.
Alma?
Houston.
Yes, hi. Houston, okay.
From Houston.
Good to have you, John. Thank you. Alma, where are you
Hello,
joining us from?
Alex. Good afternoon to everybody. This is Alma, and I'm from Mexico, from
Okay.
Yucatan.
Yucatan, very, very nice.
I like to thank you for all this information. I am so glad to know about it. I didn't know what you did. I'm sorry for my English. I speak Spanish most of the time, and I will appreciate if you can give me the information so I can join the Spanish group. I would
Okay,
like to have all the information. It's for me very interesting, and I would like to continue.
okay, great. I'll ask Ana to send you the Spanish information and the link so that you can see the replay if you want to see the Spanish one, or just continue
And
next week.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you, and so great to see you.
Yeah,
and
good to see
speak
you
with
again. Thank you. For those of you who don't know Alma makes these wonderful items that I put into my home. They're made out of basically, it's not granite. What's the material? I guess it's more like marble and stone. It's just beautiful stuff that she makes.
Thank
So
you.
someday I'll show you guys what my home looks like. Anybody else who wants to tell us where they're from? Alejandro Tafoya, Kristen, are you guys from El Paso or from where? I know Jesus is from El Paso.
I'm from El Paso as well.
Okay, do you still live here?
Everybody,
Do you still live here or you moved somewhere else?
no, I'm still here in El Paso.
Okay, great. Well, good to see you. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Okay. Julian Silva, we haven't heard from you. Where are you from?
El Paso, Texas, sir.
El Paso. All right, great. Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate you being here.
Of
All right,
course,
guys.
I'll be waiting for your email invitation.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, unless there's any other questions or comments, I'll let you guys go about your business. Kristen says that she's from New Jersey. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Kristen. I'm glad you guys are all here. I think this is going to be worth your time. So, Anna's going to send the registration link so that you can choose, if you want to join us. And I think it's going to be a worthwhile investment of your time, but you guys will be the final judge. And I look forward to working with all of you and helping you guys achieve, your version of financial freedom. So thanks again, and look forward to being in touch. Take care. Have a good evening, and God bless you all. Thanks. Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.